something a little different. Our kids are putting on, as you can tell, our kids are all ready for the Lost Boy musical. Welcome. If this is your first Sunday with us, you're in for a treat. And especially because this musical really shows us, even Mary and Joseph, loyal, faithful, chosen by God to raise the Son of God, make mistakes, misplace 1/3 of the Trinity, can't find Jesus, and yet, in the midst of that, God speaks. So we are reminded that if you're here and you're imperfect, you're in good company with Mary and Joseph. If you've ever lost a child in a mall or something, you're in good company with Mary and Joseph. The church is full of imperfect people. And so the story is about grace. And also, we probably won't get everything perfect on this musical, right? That's what makes it good. So, I mean, if there are mistakes or whatever, that just makes it even better. God uses those sometimes beyond what we expect. Katie is going to actually introduce the musical proper and read the story for us, so it's in our minds. So I'll turn it over to Miss Katie.
Did you want to say something about?
Oh, yes. You know what? We have special guests. Thank you. Pine Cove counselors, would you stand up? We have Pine Cove here today with us. So, thank you guys for being here. We are excited. You can sit down. We can't wait to see what God does in and through your work with our kids in our community this week. So our church sponsors about 200 kids in our community to go to Pine Cove City this week. And so they are here to work with those kids and sow seeds of the gospel in their hearts. And our youth also. Youth, if you're headed to camp after this, would you stand up? Youth headed to camp. Yay! They are, you can sit back down, yeah. So our youth are primed and ready for a fun-filled week at camp. And later in the service, we will just say a blessing over both of those groups. But for now, am I good now? We'll turn it over to you. Okay.
Yes, and also, they said yes. Pine Cove City students said yes. Between semesters of college, and our students said yes. God's calling them. And so they have no idea the ripple effect from generation to generation of their serving that will make. And youth campers, you have no idea the seeds that are going to be planted this week, and they're not temporary. They're eternal. And so in saying that, also First Kids said yes. And they said yes in May. And May is, our parents with children know that May is its own thing. It's filled with recitals and last tournaments and award ceremonies and graduations and just many events that we have just filled calendars with. And then First Kids Children's Ministry said, can we add one more thing? And parents and their children said yes, and they committed a lot of time into this. And so I just wanted to say thank you to the parents and thank you to the children for all the time that they put into this. Miss Betty Fisher is leading us in the music, but we have musicians over here who have also put in time for the rehearsals. Miss Denise and Miss Abby and Courtney and Linda up here on the front row leading us, and Bailey Boyd, who was in my kindergarten class, is now choreographing our things, and a physical therapist, and she's put in her time and attention. And then, of course, we have all of our tech people between Scott and Stephen and Eddie and Jeremy, and I just am so thankful. And I just wanted to say, and Vivian, who also gave up a little bit of her things that she's been a steward of for the past few months. And so I'm just so thankful for all the working parts, because it takes all the working parts to make the body of Christ. And so I wanted to be sure to say that now. I would love to read this before we get to act it out. What a great learning opportunity for our kids. It goes from their minds to their hearts. To be able to know a story in their mind, but then to be a part of the story, they get to act that out, and they know the story then in the heart. It goes from a thought to a feeling. And also, it's a 12-year-old boy, and we have 12-year-olds on stage. And so who better to tell this story? The family returns to Nazareth. This is from Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 39. So when they had performed all things according to the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own city, Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. His parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. When they had finished the days, as they returned, the boy Jesus lingered behind in Jerusalem. And Joseph and his mother did not know it, but supposing him to have been in the company, they went a day's journey and sought him among their relatives and acquaintances. So when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem, seeking him. Now so, it was that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and his answers. So when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Look, your father and I have sought you anxiously." And he said to them, "Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my father's business?" But they did not understand the statement which he spoke to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject to them. But his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. The lost boy, Jesus at the temple.
Every year, Jesus and his family traveled to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover festival. But this year was special. Jesus had turned 12, the age most Jewish boys began to study the scriptures more seriously. In a year or two, he would be accepted as a man in the synagogue. When Mary and Joseph and Jesus arrived in the holy city, they found themselves in the middle of a joyful celebration. Thousands of God's people from all over the world had gathered to remember the day God rescued them from slavery in Egypt. great caravan with their friends and relatives to make the long journey back to their hometown of Nazareth. Mary walked at the front of the line with the women and children. Joseph walked in the back with the men. Each of them thought that Jesus had gone with the other. After a long day walk, the caravan came to a stop for the night, and the two met up.
Oh, Joseph, I'm so tired.
Yes, it feels like the walk gets longer every year.
Where's Jesus?
I don't know. Haven't seen him.
Since when?
Since this morning when he left to be with you.
What? I thought he was walking with you.
No, wait. No?
Where is he then?
I don't know. Jesus!
I'm scared. What if something's happened to him?
Maybe he's with family. You go talk to Elizabeth and I'll go see Zechariah.
The two worried parents asked everyone they knew. Elizabeth and her husband Zechariah hadn't seen Jesus, but they joined Mary and Joseph in the search. They looked everywhere, but the answer was always the same. Jesus was nowhere to be found.
He's just not here.
I think we left him in Jerusalem.
Yes, I think you're right. Right. We got so caught up on the religious celebration, we lost sight of Jesus.
It can happen sometimes.
More than you think. I just don't understand. How could we have done this?
How did we fail to notice? When did we grow so blind? Why did we get so distracted? Where did we leave him behind? Life of our life, our heartbeat, closer and deeper than breath, giving us reason for living. Losing him would be death. Remember the stable the night he was born, the shepherds hung out in the straw. Remember them telling of angels who sang, faces shining with awe. Remember the kings and the gifts they brought, they followed a sign from above. Remember the time you cradled him first, your spirit ignited with love. How did we fail to notice? When did we grow so blind? Why did we get so distracted? Where did we leave him behind? Life of our life, our heartbeat, closer and deeper than breath, giving us reason for living. Losing him would be
Mary and Joseph didn't wait for dinner. They set off at once on the dark road back to Jerusalem to look for their lost boy. Elizabeth and Zechariah went with them, and the four walked all night without stopping. Just as dawn was breaking, they arrived once again in the great city. Somehow it seemed even larger than before.
There's so many people. Where do we begin?
Maybe he went towards the marketplace. There's a lot there to catch a man's eye.
He's only a boy, Joseph, not a man.
Even more reason he could have been sidetracked.
Spread out and ask everyone. Somebody must have seen him.
till every door is open. Where would Jesus be? Keep on looking till you find him. Ask until you see. Knock, ask where? Where would Jesus go? Knock, ask where? Seek until you know.
Soon they came to a street that was lined with the shops and stalls of merchants.
12 years old.
And he's all alone, with no money.
You probably won't find him here then.
Has anybody seen him? His name is Jesus.
Nope.
So Mary and Joseph and their friends moved on.
Till every door is open, where will Jesus be? People looking till you find him, ask until you see.
Suddenly, Mary heard something from up ahead.
What's that noise? It sounds like shouting.
I think it's coming from the hippodrome.
The what?
The hippodrome. It's the place where the Romans race their horses.
Ah,
I've heard they gamble on them too.
I don't think Jesus would have gone there.
I don't know. Boys his age can be very curious.
And the chariots are incredibly exciting.
Are they?
Well, that's what I've been told. I wouldn't know myself.
When they got to the hippodrome, they saw that Zachariah was right. The racing really was exciting.
Come see the galloping, galloping horses. Come see the chariots racing away. Come hear the cheering and cheering and cheering. Come chase the sound through the thrill of the day. Come see the galloping horses. Wonder, sure to excite. Sad little lives lacking the excitement. Find what they're missing when they see the light.
Excuse me, we're missing our son. We think he might have come here.
You must be looking for thrills. Does he like to gamble?
No, he's only 13, and he's very devoted to God.
Boy, have you come to the wrong place. Nobody seen a boy named Jesus? No. Now move along. You're blocking the view. Yeah, get lost.
So Mary and Joseph and the others left to look somewhere else.
Ask where would Jesus go? Look, ask where, seek until you know.
Late in the day, the searchers came to a wealthy section of the city. Ahead of them, inside a walled garden, they could hear the sounds of an elegant banquet underway. And just outside the gate to the garden, a beggar was sitting in the dirt of the street.
Please, sir, can you spare a little something?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
God bless you, sir.
When's the last time you had a meal?
Oh, I don't count the days.
There's plenty of food in that house over there. They should at least give him the scraps. Hey, you in there. There's someone starving right here.
Oh, really? How unfortunate.
Wait, aren't you going to help him?
They were made for finer things, for life and style and taste. To give our wealth to those unwashed would only be a waste. The poor and hungry make us sad, they have our sympathy. As long as we can shut the door, pretending not to see.
Please, we need help too. We're looking for our son. He's lost.
Who's making all the noise?
Oh, it's just somebody outside the gate.
Well, they're very rude. Where are they from?
We're from Nazareth.
Well, that explains it. Can anything good come from Nazareth? I don't think so.
Once again, Mary and Joseph realized they wouldn't find their lost son here. So the little search party kept going, moving through the streets of Jerusalem until it was too dark to see.
No The only thing we can do now is pray.
Maybe we should go to the temple tomorrow before we do anything else and pray there.
Yes, I think you're right.
There's an inn down the street. We can wait there.
Okay.
All night long, the anxious parents tried to rest as the hours passed on. What had happened to their son? Was he alone? Was he safe? What answer would the new day bring? Finally, at first light of dawn, Mary and Joseph and the others arose and hurried to the temple. When they arrived, they saw a large crowd had gathered in one corner, talking excitedly.
What's going on?
There's a great teacher here today. His answers are amazing. So are his questions. And he's so young.
Joseph, think about it. Jesus loves to learn about the law.
Yes, maybe he has come to see this rabbi.
Who is this master we've never seen before? Calmly reciting the wisdom of the Lord. Where is a teacher who is half as smart? Every question pierces to the heart.
What did he just say? Could you hear it? Somebody just asked, what is the greatest commandment? And all the lawyers started arguing about it.
Yes, but the young teacher had the best answer.
When the lawyers started fighting, this law's greater. No, it's not. He asked, why not love the Lord with everything you've got? For inside every law we know that tells us what to do. There's the law to love our God and love our neighbor too.
Someone should write that down.
Who is this master we've never seen before? Calmly reciting the wisdom of the Lord. Where is a teacher who is half as smart? Every question pierces to the heart.
I know I should love my neighbor, but who's my neighbor? Yeah, I don't have to love sinners, do I?
Somebody already asked him that.
And what did he say?
He said just because a child has wandered from the rest, do you think that God the Father ever loves them less? Every father, every mother I have ever known, they would search until they found their child and brought him home.
I hope Jesus is here. He needs to hear that.
You have fun.
Who is this master we've never seen before? Calmly reciting the wisdom of the Lord. Where is a teacher who is half as smart? Every question pierces to the heart.
Jesus, what are you doing here?
He's the one we've been talking about with all the questions and answers.
You?
Oh, Jesus, we were so worried. We looked everywhere.
What? Why were you worried? Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?
Oh, my son, will I ever understand you?
I have to tell you, you have a remarkable child.
We know.
3 days we wandered around looking for him. The whole time he was right here.
And all along, you're right here.
Apparently, we were the ones who were lost.
Yes, I guess so.
And so Mary and Joseph found their son Jesus, who wasn't really lost after all. He returned to his home in Nazareth, and as he grew, so did his wisdom, until a great many people came to love him, and still do. And sometimes, like Mary and Joseph, those people get a little lost and wonder, and they have to ask themselves some hard questions.
How did we fail to notice? Where did we grow so blind? Why did we get so distracted? Where did we leave him behind? Teach us again to know you.
I'm shaking.
This day we celebrate. This day, a holy day. This day we will awake and sing our God is great. This day we lift our voices. This day no longer slaves. This day our land rejoices. This day our God is saved.
Wow, thank you, kids. That was amazing. Can we keep the columns? Because I like that style. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I could do that. Oh, look at this. Look at that setup. This is good. Who needs a pulpit? Oh, I remember vividly, actually, the first time that we lost a child, for half an hour or so. We lived in an apartment, and spoiler alert, it was Asher, if you're wondering who it was. But he was 18 months old or something, and we lived in an apartment that didn't have a washer and dryer, and so you had to kind of walk across the garden or whatever to get to the dryer. So I was taking our laundry across this little courtyard area to the main house where the dryer was. And in the main house, you could turn left to go to the kitchen and the laundry and stuff. Or you could go right and get into the library, where I spent most of my time. This is when we lived in England, and I spent a lot of time in the library there. So I went into the house through one door to put the clothes in the dryer, and I came out a side door, and there was Candace in the courtyard, but no Asher. And I could tell that she was looking at me like, well, I thought he was with you. And I was like, well, I thought he was with you. And he's about 1.5 years, so he could run. I thought maybe, did he run into the street? That's the first place we went. Like, did he go around the house, run into the street? We don't know. We were thinking, okay, what if he'd gotten in the street and, got hit by a car or something? Your mind just goes to we looked all over. We looked in every apartment. We knocked on doors. We were knocking. We were seeking. We were asking, all of those things. And we couldn't find him anywhere. The whole Tyndale House complex for about 20 minutes was looking for our son. And after what seemed like a long time, 20 minutes, you think, oh, it's not that long, but it actually feels like a really long time. And we had worked ourselves into a bit of a panic. Now, I guess after 4 kids, you lose a kid for 20 minutes and you're like, But this was our first kid, remember? This was our first kid. So you're actually you want to keep track of them. And so out of the house comes this, guy, George Guthrie. He's a New Testament scholar. He wrote a commentary on Hebrews. He's like a brilliant guy, and he is carrying Asher. And apparently Asher had followed me into the house, but turned the other direction toward the library. He's, natural reader, obviously. He's going to grow up to, and the library could only be accessed with a swipe card. So that means that someone with a swipe card must have seen this 18-month-old boy standing at the library door and just let him in to have a look around the library without telling anyone. I don't know. Asher was looking for me because I had a desk there, and that's where I worked every day. So when he saw me go into the main house, he thought I would be headed for the library, and I guess he was looking for his father. We said, Asher, we have been anxiously searching for you. And he said, didn't you know I must be about my father's business? Those were his first words. He was a very articulate 18-month-old. Most of that story is true. Maybe except the last part. I'm grateful that the story is recorded for us by Luke, because it's probably one of the stories that is easiest for people across generations and throughout history to relate to. It is kind of the timeless story of parents losing track of where exactly their child is. And we assume that part of the mix-up is, Jesus' age. He's almost 13. It would be conceivable for Jesus to be traveling with the men. Seems like the men and women traveled separately, and Mary thought Jesus was with Joseph, and vice versa. So 3 days is a long time. One day traveling from Jerusalem, and then the second day traveling back, and then the third day they're in Jerusalem looking for him. But can you imagine how long those days must have felt? They're like thinking, I was in a panic after 5 minutes, losing, not knowing where my son was. So Mary and Joseph are probably having full-on anxiety attacks looking for Jesus. The word used to describe their distress is really vivid word. It describes deep mental anguish, right? Worry. So they are emotionally wrecked, and they show up in the temple. And it would be one thing if Jesus was like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I was looking for you too. Really sorry about the mix-up. But no, Jesus wasn't looking for them at all. He was in the temple with the teachers. Everyone who listened to him was amazed at his understanding, all of that. His parents come in and they're like, we've been all over Jerusalem looking for you, and you're showing off in the temple? And Luke says Mary and Joseph are astonished. They don't get it. Jesus was a good kid, presumably. Why would he have done this? Your father and I have looked everywhere for you. Why have you treated us like this? Have you ever really looked at your kids and tried to understand why do you do this? I mean, at this point, I just want to understand what you were thinking when you did this. Your actions don't make sense to us. And Mary, you could say, she knew that this was the Son of God, presumably. So she could have been even more confused. Why would the Son of God act this way? Can you imagine Mary saying, well, you are the Son of God, if that's the way you want to treat your poor mother? Something like that. This is a Jewish mother, so I'm just thinking. And Luke only tells us one story from Jesus' youth. This is all we get. This is the only story from Jesus' youth in any of the Gospels. And we pretty much know that this story had to come from Mary. Of all the stories for Mary to pass on to Luke, for Luke to record, Luke picks the one story where Mary has lost Jesus. And we can be fairly certain Mary offered Luke other stories, I would think. And yet this is the one story from Jesus' youth that Luke wants to show us. A story where Jesus' actions are maybe not what you would expect from the Son of God. And then Luke gives us the first words that Jesus speaks in the gospel. The earliest words that we have recorded for Jesus. Look at verse 48. This is Luke 2:48. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. Why were you searching for me? He asked. Didn't you know I had to be, and my translation says, in my father's house? Or as the King James says it, that I must be about my father's business. But they didn't understand what he was saying to them. And then he went down to Nazareth with them, was obedient to them, and his mother treasured all these things in her heart. Literally, when Jesus speaks, he says, "Did you not know it is necessary for me to be in the things of my Father?" That's it. In the things of my Father is what it says in Greek. No mention of a house or anything like that. Just, I must be in the things of my Father. And it's not an easy thing to understand. And Luke even says Mary and Joseph did not understand what he was saying to them. Jesus identifies God as his father rather than Joseph, which is maybe a little confusing to those who didn't know the whole story. Presumably Mary, of all people, would have understood that part. It also doesn't seem like Jesus is simply saying it is necessary for him to be in the temple, because he turns around, he leaves, he goes to Nazareth. Does that mean he's no longer in the things of his Father? No, I think Jesus was just as much in the things of his Father in Nazareth as he was in the temple. It seems like Jesus is saying that he must be concerned with his Father's affairs. I must be about my Father's business, so to speak. But the thing that's hard for Mary to understand, and the thing that will be hard for the disciples to understand throughout the gospel, is how the Father's business so often runs counter to their own expectations. Jesus eats with sinners. They don't understand. He has to be about his Father's business. He goes to a home of a tax collector. He shows grace to prostitutes. He touches lepers. This doesn't make sense to some people. He shows kindness to Samaritans who were outcasts. And at the end of his ministry, Jesus walks right into Jerusalem, where he knows he'll be arrested and crucified. That doesn't make sense. That's the very last thing that the disciples expected to happen to the Son of God. And so maybe it's no accident that Luke picks a story at the beginning of his gospel to show us that Jesus doesn't always do what we expect him to do. And that is precisely the point of the story. The point of the story is this moment where Jesus says to his mother, "Listen, however perplexing my actions may be, however much my actions don't line up with what you think I should do, however unexpected this may be, you can hold on to this thing. I am always acting to achieve my Father's purpose." This is a moment where Jesus is asking his mother, "Mother, trust. Even though this is confusing, you don't understand. This is not what you expected. Trust. I am always about my Father's business. However strange this may seem to you, you can know this. I'm always working to accomplish his loving purpose in the world." Have you ever been disappointed because God didn't act the way you thought he should act? He didn't answer a prayer that you thought he should answer, the way he should answer the prayer. Some of you are facing situations, maybe a financial situation, where God has not done what you thought God would do. Some of you are in a family crisis, maybe, where it seems like God has allowed what you never expected him to allow. What do you do with that? When you have asked God for a certain future, a certain relationship, a certain job, whatever, and he has not come through in the way you expected him to. And many times the situation is something we can't do much about. A problem we can't solve. Nothing we can do. Perhaps God isn't acting in the way you think he should act. This has happened to me before. I don't know how or why or what God is doing in this. And the question that they asked Jesus is the same question that you might ask God, same question I have asked God. Why have you treated us like this? That's what Mary, son, why have you treated us like this? We ask God sometimes that question. Why, God? Why have you treated me like this? I don't understand. Have you ever asked God why? We all ask why, but We don't always get the answer we're looking for. We want to know why me. We want to know why this or why now. Sometimes those things come with time. Sometimes they get clearer. But often all we have is Jesus' promise that however strange this may seem, know that I'm working out the Father's purpose in this. And there's no situation so bleak or so dark that God cannot use it. You know, when you read through the stories in Luke's gospel that all lead up to this one at the end of chapter 2, it's a lot of the birth narrative, isn't it? If you think through the stories, Zechariah in the temple and the birth of John the Baptist and the angel appearing to Mary and then the shepherds and all those stories, they're really the only places in the gospel where Jesus doesn't do the talking. Jesus talking is sort of the main content of the Gospels. But if you think about it, in the birth stories, in Luke 1 and 2, up to this point, there are no red letter words. Jesus couldn't speak yet. Instead, what you have is in almost every episode, some heavenly voice. An angel appears to explain to Zechariah what's about to happen. He and Elizabeth will have a son. Then an angel appears to Mary to tell her she's going to have a baby. And then angels appear to the shepherds to tell them what's going on. Then the Holy Spirit tells an old man, Simeon, who Jesus is. All of these stories have heavenly voices, heavenly interpreters saying, this is why this is happening. And finally, we come to the last episode of the birth narrative. Jesus in the temple as a 12-year-old boy, and there are no angels. There are no heavenly interpreters, no heavenly voices speaking about Jesus. Instead, we get Jesus' voice. Jesus is now the only interpreter. Jesus' voice is the heavenly voice. Before this time, God spoke to people through prophets. God related his message through angels. God's message was communicated through intermediaries. But now that Jesus has come, all that has changed. And Jesus will now speak for himself. And maybe that is precisely the point, that in the midst of every disappointment or moment of confusion, whatever it is, when God doesn't remove or change what we want God to remove or change, perhaps God wants to speak to us in that. You might know this from experience, where in the midst of some darkness, the thing that brought light was a word, a promise that God was speaking specifically to you. And it was only, you realize this, you look back in history, it was only after losing much of his wealth and all 4 of his daughters that Horatio Spafford, in the midst of that grief, in the midst of loss, wrote the words that became the hymn, "It is well with my soul." It was only after struggling for years through loneliness and loss that Joseph Scriven, who was engaged to be married, his fiancée died suddenly the night before their wedding. Can you imagine that? On the eve of your wedding day. And only after walking through that darkness and discovering the closeness of Jesus did he write, "What a friend we have in Jesus." The words that are spoken, that are received in those moments, are often the most precious and transformative moments of hearing from God. And in the end, we're not left with explanations. We're not left with an explanation when we ask why. We are left with the voice of Jesus. And we're left with the decision of whether to trust his voice above everything else. I can tell you that Jesus doesn't always act in the way that you expect. I can tell you that there's no financial situation or family struggle or personal loss that's so bleak that God cannot use it for good. But when God, in the midst of that moment, speaks directly to you, you remember that forever. And I want to give now just Jesus the opportunity to speak for himself this morning. And what I want you to do is let me read some words from Jesus over you. And just let Jesus meet you with these words where you are. I don't want to try to convince you that Jesus really was who he said he was. I want him to speak for himself and you hear it and receive it as his words to you this morning. He doesn't always act in the way that we expect, but he does always act for the Father's loving purpose. So would you bow your heads for just a moment? Just bow your heads, and I want to read the words of Jesus over you. And as I speak these words, you just let Jesus speak directly to you with whatever you're dealing with in this season. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Jesus says, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus says, go make disciples of all nations, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. Jesus says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you.